She didn't fall for her professor because he was charming. She fell because she saw the monster underneath the tweed, and some sick part of her wanted to know how far the darkness went. 1 second she was standing in the marble foyer of his Connecticut estate, realizing the smart lock had just engaged with a soft, final click. The next she was crouched on the floating staircase, frozen, listening to a man scream in a way that sounded like his throat was being torn open from the inside. Some of the most dangerous relationships don't start with lust. They start the moment you see something you can never unsee, and you don't run. Brooklyn, present day. Ava Martinez was always early. Chronically, pathologically early. It drove her roommates insane and made her the default group project leader every semester. Tonight was no different. She pulled up to the gated driveway in her beat-up Civic 15 minutes ahead of schedule. Rain streaked the windshield. Michelle had just texted. Stuck behind an accident on I-95. Marco's swearing in Italian. We're minimum 40-minute out. Sorry. Ava exhaled through her nose. Fine. She'd wait in the car, then the front door opened. Professor Dominic Nico Russo stepped onto the wide stone porch in a charcoal cashmere sweater and dark jeans, no jacket, like the cold didn't touch him. 59 years old, silver at the temples, built like he still boxed 3 times a week. He looked exactly like the tenured criminology legend he was. And exactly like the man who'd made her stomach flip during every office hours lecture since September. He raised a hand. Come inside, Ava. No point sitting in a wet car. She hesitated. Late October wind sliced through her denim jacket. I'm good, she called back. He tilted his head. The gate locked when you drove through. Biometric. You'd need my thumbprint to leave. A small, almost amused shrug. Unless you want to climb the wall in the rain. Her pulse kicked. She hated that he was right. She grabbed her backpack, locked the Civic, and walked up the flagstone path feeling like she was crossing an invisible line she'd never be able to uncross. Inside smelled like cedar, leather, and very old money. The kind of house that didn't scream wealth, it whispered it. Black walnut floors, massive abstract paintings, recessed lighting that cost more than her annual rent, led her down a hallway lined with first edition law texts and grainy black and white photos of men in suits from the 1970s. She kept 3 steps behind him, like distance was armor. You're from New York, he said without turning. Brooklyn. Born and raised. Fordham Law, 3rd year. Michelle says you're top of the section in criminal procedure. She talks too much. He laughed once, low, quiet. She's proud of her friends. They reached the library. Floor-to-ceiling shelves, rolling ladder, a partner's desk the size of a small yacht. Rain tapped the tall windows overlooking dark lawns. Set up here, he said. I'll get coffee. You don't have to. But he was already gone. Ava opened her MacBook, pulled up the group presentation slides on transnational organized crime. Ironic, considering the thoughts she was trying not to have about the man who just left the room. Then she heard it. A heavy thump from upstairs. A choked grunt. The unmistakable wet smack of fist on flesh. Her breathing stopped. Another sound, something being dragged across hardwood. Every survival instinct told her to stay exactly where she was. Ava had never been good at listening to survival instincts. She moved to the doorway, peered into the hall. The noises were definitely coming from the 2nd floor. She should sit back down. Pretend. Wait for Michelle. Instead she climbed the stairs. The hallway at the top was long, dimly lit, modern art on the walls. Light leaked from under the only door that wasn't fully closed. She pushed it open 2 inches. A man was zip-tied to a metal chair. Blood ran from his split lip, his broken nose, a deep cut above his eyebrow. His head lolled forward. Unconscious. Maybe worse. Two guys in black nitrile gloves stood over him. One held channel lock pliers. The other had a K-bar knife that caught the overhead light like it was winking. Ava's scream ripped out before she could choke it back. Three heads snapped toward her. The knife guy moved first, fast. Then Nico was there, filling the doorway, his hand closing around her upper arm like a vice. "Out," he said. Not loud. Not angry. Just final. The two men froze. I said out. They didn't argue. They hauled the bleeding man through a side door Ava hadn't even noticed. Gone in seconds. The room smelled like copper and adrenaline. Ava jerked free, stumbled back until her spine hit the wall. What the fuck was that? Nico's face was calm. Too calm. Like he'd just been interrupted answering email. You weren't supposed to see that. There was a man. Bleeding. Tied up. She couldn't finish the sentence. You saw an empty room, he said evenly. Your imagination filled in the rest. Bullshit. He stepped forward. She flinched. He stopped. Go downstairs, Ava. I'm calling the police. She turned and bolted, by the time she reached the front door her phone was already in her hand. The handle wouldn't turn. The touchscreen lock glowed red. Ava. She spun. He stood at the bottom of the staircase, hands loose at his sides, watching her the way a chess player watches a board. Let me out. Not until you hear me. Let me out. Headlights flashed across the windows. Michelle's laughter, Marco bitching about the rain. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Nico held her gaze another beat, then walked past her and pressed his thumb to the pad. The lock disengaged. Michelle burst in, soaked, hugging Ava immediately. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Traffic was hell. Nico smiled, warm, paternal. We were just going over her thesis ideas. She's brilliant, as you said. Ava stared at him. He stared back. One eyebrow lifted slightly. A dare. I'm fine, Ava managed. The group worked in the dining room for 3 hours. Ava said maybe 12 words total. Every time Nico appeared to refill water, bring fresh espresso, her skin prickled. When he set her cup down his knuckles grazed hers. She jerked like she'd been burned. He met her eyes. Not regret. Not apology. Warning. At 11:40 p.m., Michelle's boyfriend called, pipe burst at his family's bar in the Bronx. Emergency. Michelle apologized again, gathered her stuff. Marco and Francesca left with her. Then it was just Ava and Nico. I'll drive you, he said. I'll Uber. At this hour? In this neighborhood? I'll drive you. I'd rather walk. He almost smiled. Dramatic. She grabbed her bag. He didn't stop her this time. But at the door he spoke again, quiet. That man you saw raped 3 women in the last 18 months. 2 of them minors. His uncle is a state senator. The case is disappeared. So I made sure he wouldn't do it again. Ava's throat closed. That doesn't make it legal. No. It makes it necessary. You don't get to decide who lives and dies. Someone has to when the system won't. She yanked the door open. Cold rain hit her face. You're a criminal. And you're still standing here, he said softly. Not running to the police. Why is that, Ava? She didn't answer. She just walked into the rain. His black Range Rover followed her down the driveway at walking speed. The window slid down. Get in. I'm not asking twice. She got in. The ride to Brooklyn was silent except for the windshield wipers. He didn't speak until he pulled up outside her walk-up. "You can still go to the authorities," he said. "They'll find nothing. No body. No blood. No witnesses. Just a third-year student claiming she saw something horrible in a respected professor's home. Good luck with that."